Well, hello and welcome back to my video blog about my first engine teardown and rebuild on a 5.3 liter Chevy motor Generation 4 that goes into a Chevy Suburban. So here we are, episode 11. And what we're going to do on this episode is, well, we're getting really down to the last few steps here. We're going to remove the pistons. We're going to remove the main bearing caps, and then we're going to take out the crank. And by the time we're done with that, I think we'll just have a couple plugs to take out, and that will do it for this teardown. So let's get started. Alright, so I thought I'd make a couple comments here. First thing is this hammer's been somewhat helpful. This is my trusty old hammer, but certainly you saw earlier using the hammer there to loosen up those connections, loosen up how tight it was, how those two pieces of the rod there were so held tightly together. But in a future moment here coming up, you'll see I'm probably going to make a little mistake here, and this is the mistake here that I probably in hindsight should not have done, using the end of a breaker bar to kind of pound down on the top of that connecting rod to push that cylinder or push that piston out. That's probably not a good idea. Again, a newbie mistake there. And for me, it didn't matter so much because I'm going to replace all of those. The bearings, obviously. You always replace bearings, right? But I'm planning on replacing the entire pistons, connecting rod, all of that. So it didn't matter in hindsight. But if I was going to reuse these connecting rods, certainly I would not want to use the end of a breaker bar to push them out of the bore. Because I later found out after I got the cylinder out that there was some scratches on on the curved portion of the connecting rod. So here I got the piston out, but certainly it's a little bit nicked up. I'm not going to use this one anyway, but just a little notice how roughed up those pistons are. Obviously, all it's going to get replaced. But anyway, there you have it. Brand new at this. I got my first piston removed from the engine, and certainly I'll be working my way to get the other 7 out. Having a little bit of experimentation. Again, I'm just putting things together, seeing how it all fit together, just out of my own curiosity. Again, just kind of learning how this all fits together. If you're wondering why I'm tinkering with all this, it's just because first time I've ever really dug into one of these, so I'm kind of curious how it all fits together. So anyway, there's my lesson learned. If you're going to push pistons out of the bore, probably want to use something that's rubber coated on the end, or then scratch up parts. Now, in the interest of time here, I am going to speed up this video so that we can get all 8 of them out here fairly quickly. But you can see the process is the same. Taking those bolts out at the end of the connecting rods, taking the 2 halves apart, and then pushing those pistons out. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up so we can get to the end of this lengthy process. Okay, I'm going back to regular speed here because this is the last piston that I'm working on here. So shortly into this process, I realized, hey, I could speed this process up a little bit, use some electrical tools here to help remove these bolts a little faster. And also, you'll notice too, I grabbed a rag to put on the end of the breaker bar, but to try to protect those connecting rods. But still, if I had to do it again, I probably wouldn't even do that. I'd try to get something rubber with a rubber end to try to keep. You also notice 2 of the cylinders fell on the floor. That's never good. You want to try to avoid that if at all possible. Certainly wouldn't want them to land on my feet, but again, if you're ever doing one of these jobs and you're planning on reusing some of these parts, certainly you don't want parts to fall on the floor. And of course, what I discovered, which was very helpful, was the fewer pistons in the motor, the easier it is to turn the crank. So as there were more and more pistons came out, I turned the crank by hand to make it more easily, to make those bolts more easy to access. So anyway, just some things lessons I picked up and things I noticed along the way. But with that, I am happy to see that all the pistons have been removed. And now I'm just taking a look at the crank here. So there you have it, removing the pistons. And finish it up. Pulling out the trusty book. All right, so I'm on step 49. And 50, crankshaft position sensor has already been removed. That's where this guy here goes. Inspect for main bearing cap markings. There are 5 main bearing caps on the Generation 3, 4, and they normally are identified with a factory stamping. Number 1 at the front and number 5 at the rear. So here's number 1, number 2, number 3. Here's number 5. Let me get a rag here. See if there's number 4 on there. There's number 4. There's number 5. All right, so they're marked. These pieces are uniquely machined with the engine block. It must not be mixed up. So if there's any question as to the factory markings, make your own markings now using a non-intrusive method. All right. Remove main bearing cap side bolts. 2 M8 bolts
Hold each main cap from either side, so there are a total of 10 to remove. GM says to discard these bolts, however they are easily reused if desired and will just need some sealant during reassembly. So bag and label them if you plan on doing so. Alright, so let's go ahead and remove these guys. Let's see here. Let's see. Those are these guys here, so they need to be 10. What do we got here? 10. Yep. 10. Alright, so we're going to start here. We're going to loosen these guys up. They're coming off pretty easily. And then just to speed things up, like I have been doing, I'm gonna just put this baby on here real fast. And take them out. I don't think it matters which one they go to, so I'm probably not going to reuse them, so I'm not going to worry about labeling them which one they've come from. I am going to try to get as much new stuff as possible. There we go. I will put them in a bag and label them, however, just to be sure. What a mess. All right, what do we just took out here? Remove main bearing cap bolts. Main bearing cap bolts. In the pile they go. All right, what's next? Remove remaining main bearing cap bolts. Remove the 20 M10 main cap bolts, some of which are studded to enable connection of the aforementioned crank oil deflector, like these guys here. Remember, the deflector went on here and then they bolted. For the outer ones, the ones with the studs sticking up, you'll need a 15 millimeter deep socket. For the inner ones have 13 millimeter heads. So let's see here, where's my 15? I believe this is my 15. Yep, 15. Thirteen, 15. All right. Now my gut tells me that I should keep these with each associated looks like I'm gonna need a breaker bar. Where's my breaker bar? Breaker bar, where are you? Oh, here you are. Oh, this guy's tough. Was not expecting them to be this tight. All right, so now we're going to remove the crankshaft.
Well, look at that. We're just about almost done. I'm going to remove this last plug and then the job will be complete. What a lot of fun that was, tearing down this engine. I can't believe it. It's the first time I ever did anything like this, first motor I've ever torn down. But the journey doesn't end here. We're going to take this to the machine shop, and the next episode, who knows, maybe we'll start rebuilding it after I get all the parts in and get it back from the machine shop. So that's it for the teardown. Be sure to join me in the next episode for the start of the rebuild.